Hello and welcome to another edition of Indiepocalypse Radio. We're back in the virtual studio once again after 2 weeks away. I took last week I was in Toronto. Apparently, the city of Indiepocalypse, in which I met like I don't know, like 10 people, give or take, that were like contributors. And it was a weird experience to be like, look at that. All these people, this is where they all know me, apparently. Uh, Not my own location. It's the international appeal. Maybe it's, who knows. Anyway, speaking of international appeal, oh, wait, I forgot 2 weeks away, and you forget how to host a show, you know? I'm of course Andrew, the host of Indiepocalypse Radio. Indiepocalypse Radio being the mostly weekly show where I sit down and I chat with primarily contributors to Indiepocalypse. Indiepocalypse being the monthly anthology of alternative, independently made games. Uh, but contributors to that. But sometimes just people in the general arts space or other people within the larger gaming space. But not this week. This week you got two contributors from Indiepocalypse, including people from the newest issue. They got a new issue, so or new, not new. It's barely new. It's practically it's practically on its way out at this point, as far as being new. But anyway, what does new even mean in terms of games? Like what does new mean in terms of art? Is the Mona Lisa no longer relevant because it's too old? Is an old dead painting. No one looks old and dead now. Anyhow, we're here with our first guest, you may know from issue 45 of Indiepocalypse with Unearth. Is Jonathan. Jonathan, how are you doing today?
I'm feeling pretty old,
Ah,
honestly. Uh, having made a Bomberman clone, I feel a little long in the teeth.
well, it's not only a Bomberman's clone. There's also a bit of a Lemmings clone in there.
No, you're right. But yeah, it does. As someone who's from one of the earlier gaming generations, I do feel a little out of touch. But uh, it's you still have that impulse, to express yourself in whatever way you can, try and connect with people. So
Right, and as art itself turns out, like, what does age have to? There's all those million stories of like, this actor didn't start acting till they were 40 or whatever. you know,
Ricky Gervais, yeah,
sure,
there you
yeah,
go.
that fun
Yeah,
guy. um,
yeah, he didn't have any success till he was 40, right?
yeah, that's
Um,
that's that's all
yeah,
those like as it turns out, it's hustle culture is a lie, and
I mean, I certainly hope so because otherwise, man, I am not a hustler.
hustle
Jeez.
hustle culture also built on the back of being upper middle class or more often.
Right, right. Yeah, when you hear yeah, why aren't you selling real estate like me? That guy,
Yes,
that's the hustler, right?
I have in
Why don't you own some apartment buildings? Why don't you just
yes,
do that?
yes, I have in times of like, oh, how do you make more money? And looked online, and people are like, okay, well, here's passive income tips number 5. Buy $30,000 worth of this stock. It's like, okay, well, how do you get the $30,000?
Step
Oh, just
one is how many?
ask your parents to
Yeah.
borrow from your parents. You go, huh? Well, how do my parents get $30,000? And
What
it's
if
like,
my parents are broke too, sir?
it's like, oh well, they get it. Well, obviously they'll ask their parents for. Okay, okay. Well, I see how it is. It's wealthy turtles all the way down. Uh, yes, yeah. That is the difficulty. Is like, oh, what happens when you start making more money than your parents? You're like, huh? But still not enough. Anyway, money.
Still not enough to buy an Indiepocalypse tape,
Oh
you know.
no, no. They're priced quite affordably, Jonathan. Only $20 US, which is less if you're or more rather if you're not in the US. I
It's
was
like $2,000 with inflation right now, right?
Yeah, something like that. I was living like a king in Canada. I was. Can you believe it? Now, granted, this was like a sesame halva bar, but I bought it for like 50 cents. Could you imagine? Like
No,
perch,
I can't imagine buying anything for 50 cents.
like a checkout candy bar for 50 cents. I bought a
Impossible.
I bought a
Impossible.
Nutrageous the other day, and it was like $2, 2.50.
When I was young, you
Yes.
could spend a couple hours at the arcade for 50 cents. Let me tell you.
Now, now I have to
You
go
go
to
one,
Canada to do that, and
yeah.
live like an American king. But anyway, uh, speaking of the old days and games that take inspiration and from those old days, if people are unfamiliar with Unearth, how would you describe Unearth?
Well, so I mean, in sort of a banal sense, it is a mashup of Bomberman, Lemmings, Dig Dug, a little bit of Castle Lolo in there. Um, I just sort of tried to make a soup out of those things.
Yeah, but I
Um,
mean, most art is soup of other art.
right. Mhm.
The important thing is to make it a soup and not just make it that thing, one of the things, you know?
A soup rather than sort of like mush, I
Right.
guess. Yeah,
Or
because
the inverse, like, oh, I want to make a soup rather than I'm just going to recreate the thing, one of those
yeah,
things.
yeah. Hopefully, there's enough of a twist. But yeah, and it's I have a theme of uh, humanity's progeny and what they will do in our absence um, in most of the things that I do. So, um, what are the robots going to do after all the humans are gone? How will they think of us? What will
Probably,
they make of the bits and pieces that are left?
uh,
So, keeping it light,
yes, of
that kind of
course.
thing.
No, I just got I got very confused. I was going to your page. And I'm like, let me check out my notifications, and there was a comment on issue that says how to buy. I'm like, uh, you click the buy now button.
You can only make the user interface
So yeah,
so
so easy
straightforward.
to use. It's even easier in person because it's just cash. Uh, I got a lot of cash. I'm rolling in pictures of queens,
I
relatively
love it.
speaking. Um, Not affordable, but not did not uh,
Cut out the
make
middleman.
didn't
That's the only way
did
to
not
do it.
break even. But I did get to eat poutine, I guess, which you don't get to do that in the U.S. very often.
Yeah, or not good poutine anyway.
Yeah, that's I like to when I
I
go.
love playing with
Sorry.
cash. I do because I don't know. It's the most straightforward way,
Right, right. It just works. I like to.
and you keep your spending in check too, right?
Right, right. Exactly. I've attended a local comic show before, and it's like when before everyone had square readers, like when I run out of cash, I can't buy any stuff anymore. But now everyone has
Exactly.
now they just like give you square readers for signing up, and everyone has like Venmo and PayPal and Cash App and a million things. It's like, oh, I can just the big number that represents rather that number I should say that represents my total money. Um, I can
Well,
just
it's a
use
big number. It's a negative number. Is
right. I
what
was
you're
gonna say
forgetting.
the potential, the credit number is rather big, but you don't want to reach that number.
Exactly.
It's a
Exactly.
that's a number you want to keep small. You want to maintain golf rules for that one.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Keep your inflow and outflow exactly balanced. Is that being a good consumer? Is having $0 in your bank account at all times?
I don't know. Maybe, maybe. I think it's good for your credit score. They want to.
Yeah.
I always forget how to like delete messages.
Oh, do we have a bot?
Yes,
Hello,
I always
bot.
I'm like, Why is it hard to do this? I pinned it.
Oh, there we go. Now it's
Delete this message.
now
Found how
it's
to do
in
it. I pinned it,
bold.
then deleted it.
What if I bold it?
Figured it out.
We're just shaming the bot publicly now. Okay, yeah, it's gone.
Yeah, I
Um,
when I pinned it, I got access to a new option which allowed me to delete it.
okay, so you have to shame them first, and then you banish them.
There is a way to do it, but I always forget. It happens once every like 8 months or whatever, and then I have to remember how to do it again. But speaking of something, you know what? It was the Indiepocalypse question. I forgot to ask you the ever important Indiepocalypse question, which is especially now that I am increasingly offline and not, at the bump and grind of advertising. How did you find Indiepocalypse?
Where did I find Twitter, sir?
Uh-oh.
I found it in my Twitter feed. Yes. And I think I also stumbled upon you actually on itch.io.
I am a frequent publisher there.
Yep.
I'd say once a month there.
Yeah, I've heard. So I've been told. No, but I think it was initially sorry, X.
X, yes.
What do we have to say now? X.
I don't know. The URL still says Twitter, so that's what I'm going with.
Yeah, and there's already an X Corp, which I love that already existed.
I'm sure. Listen, give it a couple of years, give it a year or so, and it'll trade hands to somebody else, much like Tumblr did, and then they'll go back to calling it Twitter, and then we'll all be on Blue Sky by then. Or
Oh man, I actually got an invite finally. I'm over there.
it's exciting in that it's not exciting, and it's the same thing as everything else.
Well, that the problem is you can't do GIFs or
Yes.
videos or anything yet. So it's just very sort of lots of tumbleweeds right now, but I'm hopeful. I bet they can pull it off.
Yeah, all I want is sites that I don't want to interact with, but that there will be people on, and then I can tell them that I put a thing out, and they go, "Ah, cool thing."
Yeah, amazing. And it's not there's not something in an algorithm picking and choosing. It's just in order,
Right.
people you follow, just their stuff.
And I want to do
Not
that.
only the most popular stuff, just here's the stuff.
Right, and I want to have to not have to be because these are not public forums. I'm not an act. I don't want to be an active participant constantly. It seems tiring to keep track of things, and I honestly don't know how people find the time to do that.
Well, I mean, I think it's a sickness.
Yeah.
It's an information sickness for sure. It's not good for your mental health to engage with people on Twitter.
Right. It's like just a million strangers. It's like I remember the last time I got something that really made me reflected on this sort of thing is I got subtweeted once in real life. I remember the last time I got subtweeted in real life.
That sounds like an insult. What happened?
I was going to a show, just like a concert with a friend, and it was like I was making jokes like I'm a long-time New Englander, and it was like October. It was some time when it should be cold, but it wasn't cold.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't meaningfully cold. Like, and I had to put on a long sleeve shirt, and I was joking in the car how it was like October or whatever, and I had to, and how cold it was when it wasn't really that cold because I was just in a long sleeve shirt for the first time, and someone was like talking to their friend like, "Oh, it's not really cold at all," and I wanted, and he's like, "I know it's not. I know it's not." You missed the context of this. Of this conversation I was having.
It's like right next to you somehow.
Right, like someone outside the venue as I was saying that said to their friend, "Oh, it doesn't feel very cold at all," and I'm like, this is it. This is interaction. This is 90% of social media is like people barging you with no context,
passing by. Yeah, ships passing in the night.
And like I don't begrudge that person because maybe they took it sincerely. They didn't know I was goofing around.
Yeah, they can't see my face.
Right. Well, I mean, they could see my face.
That is they technically could
because we were in person. But They did not know my tone. They did not know I was relaying dry witticisms to a friend.
Razin, yeah.
But then people take it sincerely, and that's the voice, or that's the context of Twitter. Is then people then like going, replying, being, "You don't understand. It was not actually." And it's like, who cares? Who cares? But video
Yeah,
games, huh?
the text does not, yeah, text does not translate that very well.
But video
I had a
games.
younger person in a, oh yeah, video games.
What do you think about video games? I've been thinking about having
Well,
segments on. Kind of.
I think they have, I think the internet is a failed experiment. We should shut it all down.
Okay, yeah.
And
Let's just. But I like a place that I can distribute my stuff for cheap, and also get distributed stuff for cheap.
it's, I know it's this double-edged sword because I say these kind of Luddite sort of things,
Yeah.
but on the other hand, I don't want to have to be like, Jeff Vogel back in the day with Spider-Man software, mailing his 3.5-inch floppy diskettes out to people
I mean, I
in
do.
order to get, you know, to maybe make $20
Yeah, I
if
do.
if they register the shareware.
Right, right. I mean, you're telling someone who mailed out a copy of Indiepocalypse yesterday.
Right,
So
right.
I don't hate the sentiment, and I think
Um,
but it like
it's just
it's not practical for everybody.
right. It's like some people can make that work, but um, I do appreciate having a Steam store.
Yeah.
Even if, and I know that this is the other problem is even if there's too many games now, which is absolutely true. I'm not gonna, yeah. There's too many games. That's what I would say about video games.
I've got bad news for you. There's always been too many games.
Back
Uh,
when you had to, write an assembly and write it to a ROM or
yeah. I
something, there's some sort of constraint on supply, but there's too many games now. It's
yeah
true.
the
And I
the
think that's, you know, it
uh
is what it is. It's good and
right.
bad.
And the assumed $60 price point. Now that there's multiple price points that you can buy games at or get them for free. That is definitely.
Hmm.
I think that's more changed the accessibility to like. So really, it's just reached parity with like, you know, every other medium. There are too
Hmm.
many movies and too many albums.
Yes.
Uh,
Yeah.
to sustainably appreciate everything, and then it's kind of like, I think it's the thing where people are getting closer to slowly is that there's no one audience for games or I guess art in general, and like
Exactly. I mean, that's why you can say that actually, this million flowers blooming thing is kind of good because then you you have your message and you can write to a niche that like really strongly connects to that, right? So you can have a
yeah,
very specific message rather than having like we used to have back when I was a young kid. There was the TV channel, right? I'm
yeah,
exaggerating a little bit, but and it is kind of cool that everybody watched the same cartoons because there was only one. There are like two or three channels that played two or three different cartoons each, and that was it. That was the conversation that we had. Whereas now it's the opposite. There's a million different conversations, but at least you don't have to tailor your show to the most general, bland audience possible.
right. And you can, and there's like, I've weirdly also found myself like for a time I was like, I kind of like these Roku channels, like these kind of like always playing channels.
Hmm.
Uh,
Right.
like there is an appeal to like the curation of it, assumed curation. I don't know how much curation like Shout TV has, but it is neat to be able to be like, I'm gonna turn on Shout TV and see what they've got playing. Uh,
Yeah.
it's like it helps you kind of break out of uh, the shell, the kind of like the paralysis of choice
Hmm.
that we have.
Exactly.
Um, but I'm
Yeah.
I have no fear of. I run into it occasionally, but even I've been kind of like. I enjoy my Switch, but then I've kind of thought like, oh well, what if I got another? Like, it got me thinking about a Steam Deck. I was like, that's like one ecosystem, and most importantly, the thing I think that stopped me from that is like, I can't buy carts for the Steam Deck, you know,
Right. You can't buy a physical card. Yeah.
and
It's all gotta be. How do you feel
that's
about Playdate
uh,
in that vein?
it seems kind of neat, I guess. I don't know. It seems like it really
That's my thought. It seems kind of neat, I guess. That's exactly
it
my
seems like
my mental
it
process.
seems like it really benefited from clearly having a lot of money to advertise it and sell it to people, more than it being
Yeah,
more than it being a interesting thing itself.
because
Uh,
I obviously like the format, but I was like, I mean, even like five people that play my game now, it would definitely be zero if I made a Playdate game, right?
right, right.
Which at some point feels kind of futile. If I even have like one or two people playing my game, I feel like that's enough. That's success
Yeah,
for me.
right. One or two
But with
people is a
Playdate, I
lot of
mean,
people when you think about
yeah,
it.
that is. I mean, a soul is infinite, right? So that's like two infinities
Yeah, like
of
that's another thing I've helped. It's helped me a lot. Is like really abstracting. Like, oh, 100 people being into something is a lot of people to be into something.
yeah,
Imagine
yeah,
100 people in a room at all like that thing.
yeah. I mean, you're definitely gonna get COVID, right?
Oh yeah, no, listen. It's just like, welcome to life in 2023.
Right,
Uh,
man. What a U-turn.
listen. I felt like I was missing out because I didn't get to experience the 1918 flu and get to experience the addition of a new disease to the human lexicon.
Right, yeah.
I felt like I was not living in interesting enough times, you know.
Look, you were saying earlier how you're somewhat antisocial.
Yeah.
So actually, that was actually it was kind of a win.
Oh yeah.
If I can put a silver lining on it.
I could listen. I've never understood somebody who not doesn't have something to do. If I did not have to sleep or eat or anything else, I would still never have enough time in the day to do all the things that I want to do. I have I have a table that I recently cleaned off and did a bunch of stuff, and that like, oh, I could theoretically build models on this. I had that thought like 4 months ago.
Right.
Um,
Need another thing.
but speaking of uh, hobbies, I suppose, Jonathan, we're approaching the end of our segment here, but I have a couple questions for you. The 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 other stock Indiepocalypse questions from guests.
Oh, please, please,
And
please continue.
the first one is, what is your favorite type of rock?
My favorite type of rock. I would have to say, um, Master of Puppets by Metallica.
Okay,
Be
and
my
what?
answer. Yeah.
And along that same line, do you have a favorite Toho character?
Character. Oh my. Um, oh gosh.
Do you have a favorite
I
game?
was
I feel
thinking
like.
about films.
Oh, okay,
Um,
okay. So yes, there are two Tohos. Answer the question. Yes, I suppose.
well, I mean, my gut response was um Lady Eboshi from
Okay.
Princess Mononoke, but I fear I may have picked the wrong Toho.
Yes, there is that. See, now this is we're running into my accent here, um, where is the Toho with the double U's between the after those O's, the famed Bullet Hell series.
Oh goodness. I'm afraid that's outside of my wheelhouse.
That's okay. There is people do have familiar with the Toho, the long running film production company in Japan as well, which I take as a half credit answer.
Okay. As long as I
but
didn't fall flat on my face.
but also it's not it's also a do, not what, so it is strictly optional.
Okay. I'm
Uh,
afraid I can't answer that second one, sadly.
but those are old games. That first highly responsive to prayers was on the PC 88.
It's true.
So you could have
Yeah.
been. I mean, I don't know what the import scene was like back then. If you could
Right, the
get
demo scene. Yeah.
what like how often you were getting Dojin games from Japan back then without having to physically go there and go to like Comic Cat if you were going to pick up a
Yeah.
copy of Highly Responsive to Prayers. But that all said, Jonathan, thank you for joining me. I hope you will stick around for the rest of the show. I'm
I will stick around to the extent that my 2-year-old allows me to.
ah,
Um,
see
I
that's
think I'm good for another 15 to 20 minutes at least.
okay. So maybe you will
I'm
not,
working
because
on
that
it.
will be the other segments. But so let me. So in case you cannot, Jonathan, where can people? What is your stuff, and where can people find it?
Well, you can find my most complete works on Steam if you search for um, Unearth is probably the easiest thing to spell. And then just click on the developer name and you'll see a list of all of my two fine wares.
Perfect. And
I'm also on itch, but
yes,
then you have to learn how to spell cryptomnesia.
which
It's a
I
little bit of a mouthful.
yeah, it's like Krypton. Ah, I see now. He did not want he that person did not want to buy Indiepocalypse. He wanted me to buy his new hentai game. Nice try.
Oh, perfect.
I got another comment from that person. Nice try there, buddy. Not on my watch.
Curses, foiled again.
Take that, hentai peddlers. if you if you want people to play your game, you'll do it the honest way and submit it through indiepocalypse.com/submit. Not put it in my comment section. That's it, Jonathan. Thank you for joining me here. Thank you for including the game. Thank you for all around. We're gonna go to a break. Uh, Goodbye for
Thank you very
now.
much, sir.
Welcome back to Indiepocalypse Radio. That was the replacements with their cut of "Tossin' and Turnin' off the classic "Please to Meet Me." I usually don't get into all of that, but I was like, that's not a replacement song, but it's fun. They add their own little flavor to it. I like the Ments or the Mets. I always forget what people call them, the shortening of them. But anyway, we're back with our second guest of the show, who you may know from issue, what was it, 38? Let me see.
41.
41. I used to be good at, like, there's one issue that I am really good at because I brought to a show. So I am, like, it's really burned into my brain. Though I forget. No, I think it's 21. I think it's 21. It's pretty burned into my brain. But there's 47 of these things. What do you expect from me?
No, that is fair. I mess it up all the time when I write about it.
But that voice you hear is Caroblin, or is it Cass?
Either or is fine.
Perfect.
Cass would be like.
I will go with Cass because that's what you gave me, not in the parenthetical with internal monologue. Welcome to the show.
Hello.
I wanted to make sure because here, when I see Cass, most often it's two S's. So I didn't know if that
Yeah,
was
it's short for Casper.
okay. Yes, I didn't know if that was, or if that was a Euro style Kaz or something.
Yeah, I named myself very confusing when I changed my name, to be honest.
Listen,
But we're stuck with it now.
Some of us make entire projects that have long, complicated, made-up names. Even if we're borrowing them, they're still. Maybe I could have named it something easier. But speaking of names, the name of. Oh, speaking of this absurdly named project, how did you hear about Indiepocalypse?
Yeah, so I'm in a lot of like indie dev spaces just in
Yes.
general, and a lot of people I know were in it really. I see it about on itch all the time though, because it is monthly, so it gets up there a lot. But yes, it's very cool, and I really appreciate things like this existing.
Yeah, no, I'm glad that people. I'm someone's emailing me recently. He's like, "Oh, I'm getting into game dev, and I think this is a cool thing." And I was like, I've realized of recent years that how much Indiepocalypse can now. It would be not surprising if it predated the game development life of its contributors. You know,
Yeah.
given that it started now in 2019, and we're getting close to 2024. Wait, did it start?
Oh my god.
No, did it start in 2019 or did it start in 2020? I think it started in 2020. It started in 2020. That's right. Yes. I get thrown off because it started at the beginning of COVID and they call it COVID-19. But I think they named it towards the end of the year. For like that early period, when it was first percolating. But speaking of percolating, sometimes things percolate within one's body. Tell me a little bit about Eternal Monologue if we're not familiar. If I did not know what Eternal Monologue was.
Yeah, so Internal Monologue is a little visual novel thing that I made for the O2A2 game jam. And it's about like body image issues and trans stuff and just not being very comfortable with your body. So you talk to your brain and your heart to try and your brain, your heart, your stomach, and your heart to try and figure out what the hell is going on with yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Listen. We did not have a lot of good. Just like even if you're like, I'm content with the body I was given, gender-wise, still body issues are not polite to the average human being growing up.
Yeah, 100%.
And then when you throw, it's like, oh, I don't like the base model body I was given. I don't care for this very much. That throws, and the whole other like thing. It's truly the curse of humanity is that we're just kind of given a thing and we have to deal with it.
Yeah, where's the character creator, frankly?
Right.
Like, I just want to pick my stuff.
Right. And it's even like, what if I did not like? I need glasses. What if I didn't want to wear glasses? It's like I had no choice in the matter.
It's not fair, frankly. I think they should reprogram life. It's a bug, frankly.
Right. Listen, or make us truly simple animals that don't think about our business too much, or it's like too much to think about, and it's like truly. But we were talking about earlier in the first segment about like game distribution and that sort of thing, and the benefit of this free distribution model is how would a lot of games like is your own, that would not be put out on the Nintendo Entertainment System, even if you could program it to be on there. It's like a short little thing, and it's like consoles demanded like a certain scale, And
yeah, it's very tiny.
even I think Steam expects a certain scale of game to be acceptable to be sold, which is a whole other nightmare that people focus on a singular platform,
Yeah. Yeah, it's I appreciate Indiepocalypse hugely for that, because like you just can't get this stuff out. Like it's all there's a lot of people I know that have done like really tiny game jams that projects like this have benefited a lot from, because they're small. Like I think Indiepocalypse Internal Monologue is like 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, unless you like read everything for ages.
And you're like a slow reader on top of it.
100%.
No, I love when people. Also, I wish people would tell me up front how long their games are. Sometimes, like, let me sit down for this, and like, how long is this game? It's like 2 hours. Thank you. So now I have to set aside 2 hours to play it. But there is like, and I think there's the importance to the sentiment of like, games don't need to be really long, because that is such a, I think if you're deep in games, you think that sentiment. I feel like that is like such a general populist sentiment that games are expected to be like 16 to 40 hours long, as like that's just how long games are,
Yeah, I think there used to be like, I remember, people being like, oh well, if I'm paying like $60 or £60 or whatever for this game, I want it to be like 60 hours long, and it's like the math ain't mathing. I don't know. It doesn't make a lot of sense. Like a lot of times, I just don't finish games that are that long. Bar
Right.
like Breath of the Wild, because that's like perfect and amazing, and I love it. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, like shorter, more yeah. You know that meme that's like, I want developers to make shorter games with worse graphics. Like, please, yes.
Yes. I mean, I'm dubious of a lot of the people that post that. I think they just mean $1 million indie titles, not actually.
Yeah.
I don't think their mind is ready for a 5-minute itch title.
Yeah.
They're like, I want shorter games. They're saying, oh, I don't want Assassin's Creed. I want Hades. And it's like, well, okay, I guess that's the difference between like 200 million and $20 million, but
Yeah.
that's still massive in scale. And a lot of them are still like dreaming about these like forever games. But I've also like detached myself, like, that is like most people. How much are people like really paying attention to in any medium to stuff that is like this super low level self pub stuff? It's like nobody, really.
Yeah.
How much are people really watching like truly like no budget independent film? Like,
yeah.
Like a lot of independent filmmakers themselves are still like, you think of as like, oh well, they've got production and still got pretty big budgets. So that's also
Yeah.
like a thing you can cheat and make in a month. Because it's like, oh well, technically this is only what is it like? It's only like an hour's worth of footage, really. Ultimately, that we end up with 90 minutes.
Yeah, it's weird. Like,
Yeah.
my friend is like, they studied film, and I don't know. It seems like a lot of the time it is kind of like, compared to like games production, you kind of know what you're getting into. But I feel like with games, like when you're programming and stuff, like so many bugs pop up. But then I guess
Right.
with like films, it's like if a location just suddenly explodes or something,
Right.
you're kind
Right.
of screwed if an actor falls out. So I don't know. It's odd.
You
But
got,
yeah, I wish like small projects were more emphasized.
yeah. That's or just like I think we need like faster turnaround needs to be uh just kind of normalized. I like the idea of just like constantly reusing assets. Reusing everything constantly.
Yeah.
And that is like,
Yeah, that would make a good game jam.
like I think just people should like build their own libraries of assets and just like constantly be reusing and using their. Why would you? That's what companies have done for like such a long time.
Literally. I think the speech script I use in internal monologue is the same one I've used for years. I
Right.
just like keep on retweaking it like a billion
That's
times.
the thing. If it works, why would you ever not use it anymore?
Yeah.
It's like this truly functional sort of thing of like, hey, if it works, it works, and no need to like imagine going to set and building a new desk every time you need a desk for a scene, and not just like going to the cheapest, not using one you have lying around, or going to like a prefab a shooting set, or like getting a cheap one from a local like thrift shop.
That's a really good metaphor,
Yeah,
actually.
right.
That's great.
Right. It's the old adage. At what point do you stop on the path towards creating the universe, and decide this is close enough?
Yeah.
And it's like I just buy the whole damn apple pie. I'll just do that. It'll save myself infinite amounts of time. I feel like I referenced that a lot. If people aren't familiar, that is that what's the guy, the science, the space nerd that's not a loser, Carl Sagan.
Oh, okay.
I was thinking of Neil deGrasse Tyson as the loser one. I think that's a quote for him, right? To create an apple pie from scratch, you must first create the universe.
I think so. I don't know. I've read, but it's a good one. I like it.
It's a good sentiment to remind yourself of, like, why would you need to recreate every single tiny little asset? It's like,
Yeah,
how far back must one go? Um,
yeah.
but so what gaming? You said you like, what do you now? This is the closest thing to I have to a segment on the show. What do you think about Mario, that little guy that runs around, jumps?
Oh, Mario,
What's
great.
you like him? You like his little?
He's a good guy. He says "wahoo"
He does
sometimes. I think that's pretty endearing. I gotta
does
say.
say wahoo. Do you?
I want to really. Oh, sorry, you go.
I was gonna say, did you know I went to I attended an event. I was guesting at an event at the same event as Mr. Mario himself once
No way.
to kind of get a sense of the scale he works at. This was a small event in like or not a small event, but a smaller event in the Midwest of Ohio, of the United States. Which is a really weird thing to be like, oh, I'm the literal voice of one of the most iconic, visually identifiable characters in the world. I sign $80 headshots
Yeah, that's crazy.
inside of a large convention warehouse space.
Yeah.
It's a very odd thing. It's almost as if they funnel all the money to the top. The people below don't get anything.
That's crazy.
Almost as if these actors we talk about don't get paid enough, huh?
Yeah, it'd be crazy if there was a huge union push and strike going on right now. And, if it started moving into the games industry, maybe that would be a good thing. Who's to say?
That seems like it'd be helpful if I often like I've joked about like part of the reason I one of the important things to Indiepocalypse is royalties,
Mm,
and part of it is even just hearing like the jokes about like actors getting like piddling, like not good royalties but royalties even, because they were
yeah.
like, I was just listening to a podcast recently, and an actress was talking about how she was getting still occasionally gets royalty checks for a single line she had on a show, and it's like it's probably like 20 cents, but hey, if you contribute to something, shouldn't you get paid for it forever? I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, it is really heartbreaking, like some of the checks that do come out there. I can't remember if it was like I think it was one of the people on Breaking Bad or something
Yeah.
that like had a check with like zero point 0.1 cents or something. I don't
Right.
know. I might be talking out my ass, but I remember
Yeah.
it just being like shockingly low for like one of the like hugest, most renowned series ever. It's crazy.
Yeah, and streaming, I think they studios did started doing a lot of very creative math with streaming, you know,
Mm,
that like I think if you did like way worse or something in network TV, you would get way. I don't know. It's all very like I'm not an actor. It seems like a terrifying life to live,
yeah.
that Hollywood life,
Yeah.
and I don't wish it on anyone. But part of maybe that's why they're all on each other. They all have podcasts, and they're all also actually they all have podcasts because it makes more money than acting does, and writing
That's
does.
a good little revolution, and the podcast revolution.
Right.
Screw Hollywood. We're gonna sit in a room and talk on microphones. Not that we're not doing that exactly.
No. That's part of the reason I like doing this show is I liked the idea of all those people are all have shows and they're all on each other's shows, and it creates like that sense of loose community.
Yeah.
I was talking to someone up in Toronto, and he was talking about how like game dev doesn't have like events,
Mm,
like you don't like, there's not like, oh, we're going to like a show, we're doing a show, whether it's like a music show or like a comedy show or something, like just it's not regular things that you're doing, and that like gets the local community together. There are
yeah.
there are some like local meetups occasionally, but like those are you know disparate in terms of where they are, and they all have different like vibes to them. Most of them are not just like hangout kind of things, or like a thing we're doing maybe to make some money and then a hangout afterwards.
Yeah, there's like in the UK there's a bunch of like conventions that people like regularly go to, but
Yeah.
it's like half the like game dev community is not in that area at all, and it costs so much to travel, and it's
Yeah,
like it's
right.
very prohibitive if you're not living in like London and stuff. But it is nice to meet people there. But it
Yeah.
would be really cool if there was like just something like, I don't know. I like all the like Summer Games Fest and Wholesome Games and things like that that's happening lately. Just and data devs and stuff. Even though that's like old, but
Right, right.
yeah, it's nice to see things like that popping up that are a bit more kind of accessible. Even though those are like really high budget and do a lot of the
Yeah.
time.
I,
Yeah,
I that's my problem I find with online events is they very quickly tend to, funnel to the people at the top very quick without much like attention, because it's like um uh, the benefit of physical events is I can just show up to them,
yeah,
and then it kind of paves everyone as an equal rather. But like, if you're going to be on any of those fests, so many of them try to turn to their own, like they're not like strictly self-serving, obviously, so they want to be like, oh, we want a bunch of people to watch wholesome direct, so we have to get like games that have Switch releases and Steam releases coming up and have
sure.
polished looking, quote unquote polished looking titles or whatever. And so that tends to like, they all kind of are chasing the sort of capitalist ideal of a good product, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, it's not fun. I think like the idea of like zine culture in general, which obviously you're doing, but like
Yes.
I had an idea ages ago, which is just like a game jam, and then you just like do a little tabling with like the zine or whatever, and you
Yeah.
just give away the code. Like just something like that would be really nice. It's like a local little thing to do. I
Yeah.
don't know. I just wish there was more. Bring me more.
I've been like, it was very easy going to Canzine last week, because I could just tell people like, oh, you know how you can come here and you can sell your 8-page, 12-page zines. I'm like, what if game devs could do that too?
Yeah, it would be great.
What if they didn't have to like go to like huge expensive events? What if they could spend $40 and go through their local zine fair and just like, I mean, if you've got one, you probably can also. I'd do it.
Yeah, I've been looking into it, to be fair. I know there is someone local to me that does like they sell illustrations and then they kind of like sneak in game codes as well, which I
Yeah.
might just like do because that
Yeah.
sounds fun.
Right. I
But
mean,
yeah.
just I use put them on the back of postcards.
Yeah, yeah, true.
Put like little address. Take those address labels and just stick them to the back of a bunch of postcards or that kind of thing. Right.
Yeah, that would be fun. You could do a lot of fun stuff with presentation for it as well. Like maybe
Yeah.
you got origami the code together or something stupid. I don't know.
You're right.
I feel like there's a lot of fun ways.
Right. It's like once you're just like putting a code on something, it's just like, it's a lot of cheap, inexpensive ways to like sell these things.
Yeah.
I've uh, if you put things like, if say for instance you put them on a USB stick instead of a cassette case, that's pretty cheap to do.
Yeah.
That costs like a couple bucks, maybe, depending on your local printing costs. And it's a bit of an upfront cost mostly, because you have to
Mm.
buy all the USB sticks. But most people don't need like the 8 or 16 gig USB sticks that I need. You could
Yeah,
probably
yeah, I guess.
get by on like 1 gig, and those are probably
0.5.
they're practically giving those things away on AliExpress. So it's like, I don't know. There's a lot of fun to it. Have you done any other like just physical like zine work as well?
No, I used to like study art, so that was like my main thing before I moved into game stuff. So
Right.
I've always wanted to, but I've never been in a place where I've had the chance because I've been like games since. But I want to. I want to go back. Art stuff's cool. It's interesting.
Yeah, yeah. There's like, and I think so many artists are like, especially in that independent space, are just like multidisciplinary.
Yeah.
And it's like, you can see where somebody comes from when they make a game. It's like, oh, they're an illustrator first, or they are
Yeah.
coming from a programming or a music or some kind of other background. You see what their own strengths are. Like, oh, this person comes from no strong background. They're just coming from everywhere. But it is a true pleasure. But I've got some questions for you. You've had
Question me up.
You've had some time to prepare for
Yeah.
these two important questions. Question number 1: what is your favorite type of rock?
I'm gonna say bismuth because it looks cool.
Okay, is that like the one with where you open it up and it's like a bunch of like multicolor kind of cascading thing to it? It's like the weird square one.
Yeah, it's really weird. I tried to
Yes.
buy some once and it said it was toxic all over it, so I got really worried.
Yes, you shouldn't I would not touch toxic rocks.
No.
The bismuth is warning you. It's like the colorful frogs. It's like, hey buddy, stay out of here.
It's literally the scary rock.
Yeah. And follow up, do you have a favorite Toho character?
So I have never played Toho, but I am gonna answer this
Yes.
with Toho animation and say Little Witch Academia because it's great.
Does Toho also produce that?
I on the Wikipedia apparently they do because
Okay.
I was like, oh god, I've seen Toho everywhere. I need to check if I do know anything.
I kickstarted that second film,
Oh hell yeah,
so I have a Blu-ray of that.
sick.
Yeah, I was like, I like this little thing. It's fun. They're doing. They are doing. I believe they're doing the Delicious in Dungeon anime. Studio Trigger, that is. Am I right?
I wouldn't know, I'm afraid, but that sounds very cool.
I'm looking it up. Wait, is it already out? That can't be right. Oh, it's a teaser. It's gonna be on Netflix. Oh, Studio Trigger is doing it. That'll be neat. I like it. It's got fun expressions.
Oh yeah.
Active viewers of the stream will know because that's my go-to stream avatar is from that. I like that artist. She does a lot of cool. I like her art a lot. It's very expressive, very good at drawing individual characters. But that said, Cass, we're going on a break because it looks like our second guest might still be here, like a Jonathan's still hanging around. So we are in fact going to go to a group seg after this. Thank you for being here and hanging around. My voice is still a little shot from last week. I can hear it, I can feel it.
I apologize that your voice is shot, but thank you for having me.
We'll be back in like 2 minutes and 15 seconds. Goodbye for now. Welcome back to Indiepocalypse Radio. That was the okay thing to do on Sunday afternoon is to toddle in the zoo by My Little Airport. Really giving fucking what's their face? Really giving Belle and Sebastian a run for their money there with those titles. But I do like excessively long titles. We were back with I think both of our guests. Hello.
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 Oh, you've made it. So we're back with everyone. We're here hanging out. How are you both doing?
Good.
I'm
All
good
right.
because the kid's napping. You know,
perfect.
this is what freedom feels like
Yes.
right now.
Now I have an important question. I've switched over to this segment. I've switched over to for my break music. I've switched over to the classic dance, of course, the Freddy. Are either of you familiar with the Freddy?
No.
Sounds like it's after my time. I think
Oh
it's the
no, well
appropriate
before your time, in fact.
thing. Is it?
But I wonder if someone just did this on TikTok, if they could take off just doing the Freddy. Let me post it into our private Discord channel here.
I'm just like imagining Freddy Fazbear now.
Oh no, I'm unfamiliar with that funny little guy. He's the angry bear that hates you, right?
Yeah, he does it. Maybe he does a dance sometimes.
I'm not sure. Now talk about after my time. Getting scared by I went to Chuck E. Cheese in my day. I've met Charles Entertainment himself. Do they
The
have?
true horror.
Do you have the animatronic types over there in the UK?
So, like, not the same way. The closest thing I've come to is my local garden center used to have animatronics of the Wombles they'd bring out every Christmas.
Okay.
Are you familiar with the Wombles?
I'm not. Are they like the Wiggles?
I can't remember. Maybe they're just Wombles. I can't remember what type of creature they are, but there's some fuzzy little guys.
I'm looking at them right now.
like
They are
old
not
Muppet Show.
like the Wiggles in the slightest.
No, they're not color coded. Sadly, they should be. But yeah, they'd bring them out to sing. That's the closest we'd have. But I kind of wish we had Chuck E. Cheese because it seems like a whole vibe.
Yeah, it definitely is. Like, so you did not have any of the mascot style restaurants, which is
Not that I know of. I lived very like rural as a kid, so if I did, I wasn't aware of it.
Yeah. In fairness, we had to drive a good 20-30 minutes to find our Chuck E. Cheese. But that's also
Yeah.
the U.S. where you often have to drive to get anything. Where I'm like, driving 20 minutes to something, of course. Why wouldn't I? That's the only place I can go. That's the only accessible kind of thing.
Would you still go to a Chuck E. Cheese in the post Five Nights at Freddy's world? I mean, I don't know, man.
Well, I wouldn't. I'm a childless adult. I would definitely not go to a Chuck E. Cheese.
Oh, right. Probably a given, but I would say I would never take my kids to a Chuck E. Cheese. Yeah.
No.
Having played Five Nights at Freddy's.
Now, kids probably getting a whole lot. I think kids probably love it now. It's like fun, ironic. They still have them. Oh, Chuck E. Cheese is a cool guy now, right?
Right.
Yes.
Is that is the mid-20s spot now, isn't it? Go there. Maybe they started to serve alcohol at some point. I just don't know.
Are they like Dave and Buster's now?
Yeah. Oh, Dave and Buster's.
I've never been to a
That's
Dave.
my
I've never
childhood.
been to a Dave and Buster's in my life.
Yeah, that is such a strange concept looking back because you had to walk past like the gambling tables as a young kid.
Oh, for a
Never
second,
really asked my parents what that was about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just kind of like straight back to the back where the skee ball was.
I thought I'm on this Chuck E. Cheese Wikipedia page and I thought for a second I got excited. I can purchase stock in Chuck E. Cheese, and I can't. I could only do it between 1981 to 1984, so I cannot.
Just missed it.
But they are available in 567 locations.
Okay.
It's going strong, but unfortunately, none within Europe.
It's a shame.
Well,
I think
you'll
we're
just have to wait
deprived
for your
of the
next
Chuck E.
life.
Cheese.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll be
I
reincarnated 20 years ago.
but you do have the Tesco meal deal, which
Oh, yeah.
I'm
Dang
obsessed
it.
with.
What's your ideal Tesco meal deal?
I don't know. That's the thing. It feels like something I would like slowly perfect over time. I would obsess over if I had access to something like that.
The way to do it is they do like for some reason they price the sandwiches that have like 3 sandwiches in the same as the ones with like 2 sandwiches in, like slices. So you gotta like choose the most expensive things and then somehow make it worth £3 through the magic of deals.
See,
It's great.
£3. It's like for a meal. It's like sounds like paradise.
It's great. I mean, they upped it to 360,
Right.
but
And
that's
it
not
is
great.
trash food. but
It is trash food. It's horrible for you.
But listen, I'm a fan of the occasional Arizona tall can because it's only 99 cents, even though it is basically just sugar and water.
Is it the equivalent of the dollar menu at McDonald's? Are we talking about the same sort of culinary experience?
It's cut from but it's in a convenience store and you get a wider selection.
Yeah,
Gotcha,
like you
okay.
sometimes get a vegetable in it, so that's good.
Or something that like the spirit of the vegetable, right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like this lettuce that really tastes like you're like eating plastic wrap or something,
Right.
like you've accidentally bitten into it, and then like really old tomatoes.
a vegetable that finds its way to England, an English convenience store.
Yeah.
So not the freshest vegetable.
No, they're certainly not fresh.
But that is the thing. I mentioned it kind of during my segment, John. It's the thing that I love is like, because it's like, oh, you should, if you travel abroad, I don't want to go to like the best places. It's like, oh, you should really get like, oh, you go to London, we've got this best Indian place. I'm like, technically, yeah, I have good Indian places around me too. So like, I can get like a good Indian food. But it's like, no, I want to go for the bullshit that I can't get in the U.S., which is like probably like the cheaper, like the not as good stuff, but that stuff is like distinct.
Yeah, the
I'm
workers'
100%
lunch,
with
right?
you.
Yeah, which would be like,
I want to
yeah,
go to the 7-Eleven of Paris,
exactly.
Yeah.
please.
Right.
I want to have the Slim Jim of Europe.
I do want to have I do want to have a European Slim Jim. That is.
What would it be called in Paris? It'd be like
Le Slim Jim.
Do they have Slim Jims in here?
I don't know what one is, so
Yeah.
that's not encouraging.
Oh, it's a meat. It's a nice meat stick. It's a stick of jerky. I guess it's a nice little jerky stick. You can. That's the other thing I love is the idea of like getting like imports of just like common sort of stuff. Like oh, I can go to my supermarket and get an Aero bar in the special UK section.
I mean, that's a real thing. Like, I have a friend who lives in Spain, and if I ever go visit, she like asks for like the most mundane stuff from the US.
Pepperami. Now pepperami, that looks
Oh
like
wow,
yep, pepperami
that looks about
like
right. Yeah,
They have
more
really weird
phallic,
adverts.
but yeah.
Yeah, no. The whole advertising campaign in the 2000s is this guy just making like very phallic references.
Stick jokes. And
But
Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
The thing is, the important American detail of it is, can you get them that are like 2 feet long?
No.
Yeah.
I
They're
wish
flat
I
on
could.
the ends, so it's a little bit less. But yeah, it's and Macho Man Randy Savage was the purveyor of these
Yes.
for many
You would
years.
encourage you to snap into them.
Whatever that means.
Well, because when you bit them, they snapped. That was the sound they made.
Oh, right. If you bit through the plastic.
which is definitely the sound you want your meat to make, is when you break it apart, you
food.
want to hear a nice snap.
Like a nice
Yeah.
biscuit.
Yes.
Meat
But no,
biscuit.
those were a staple of stockings. Those like
Stockings? Like Christmas stockings?
yes.
Mhm.
What, meat?
You
It's America.
yeah.
That's crazy to me.
Like Childish Gambino said, this is America.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is what he was talking about in that song.
Meat at every meal. That's what I took away from that music video.
Yeah.
What and I haven't seen. I assume they still make the long Slim Jims, right?
Oh yeah, they got to. Those are like novelty gifts.
Yeah, here it is. Yes, I can get them
Look
from.
it up.
I can order them from Lowe's.
There you go.
No,
a
that's not
200
right.
pack. Is that
That is not correct.
okay?
Giant.
I feel like
Slim
you-
Jim
you
original
go to
giant stick
Costco?
meat.
Giant stick meats. Yes.
That doesn't sound appetizing.
No, when I clicked on it, it gave me a Slim Jim, the tool for getting into your car. There it is. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh my god.
There it is.
There.
It looks like a flare.
Yes, and
It'll make it feel like you have a flare inside your intestines if you eat it.
And once a year on Christmas morning, little Andrew was chowing into one of those for a while.
There's very little. I don't think I've even speculated about what's in one of those. But I mean, it can't be literally poison because
Yeah.
But it's got to be close, right?
Yeah, something to that. It's known carcinogen, Slim Jim.
Infinite shelf life.
Yeah.
Because it's inimical to all life. Nothing can grow in it or on it.
Beef, pork, mechanically separated chicken, water, textured soy, corn syrup, salt. It's got a bunch of stuff in there.
Oh, I
The
love
mechanically
textured
separated
soy.
just adds a lot of flavor, you know.
Yes, I'd like my chickens to be mechanically separated.
Well, it's so it wasn't separated by small children's hands,
Yes.
right? You
Oh,
should feel a little
true.
bit better about
Just don't ask who built
no
the just
slaves.
don't ask who
Right.
built the mechanisms though.
Don't ask who's running the machine.
Yes. That's a secret. But yes, video, of course, the important thing in this video game podcast, I've realized like in 2023, like, because this has been like a long-standing run through of Indiepocalypse Radio is like my uh, kind of obsession with food and kind of just like very normal trash food that people enjoy. And I've realized that like going in 2024, like my path is like it's no longer like, oh well, how do I finally get Indiepocalypse into IGN or Polygon or whatever. It's not like, how do I get Andrew onto Doughboys? And I'm gonna figure it out. There's a path to which I get to talk about junk food and fast food on a podcast, and it feels more like in line with my kind of goals overall, rather than being like a one-time forgettable article sandwiched among Mario and Assassin's Creed and all the other guys.
Junk food, I mean, that's the cornerstone of America.
Yes.
That's what keeps the workers running, man. My junk food would be hot fries.
Oh,
Handicap.
yes.
Yeah.
Jonathan, there's a time in my life where I was buying the bulk packs off of Amazon.
Oh, baby, that'll get rid of your stomach lining real quick.
I was
That
eating
stuff.
like a bag a day. I'm considering buying one right now.
It's so delicious, but it feels like once again I have a flare
Yeah.
inside of my stomach when I eat a bag of those now.
Well, you're talking to someone who buys the restaurant containers of Frank's Red Hot to put on top of roughly every meal.
There's no shame in that game, man.
Yeah,
I'm more of a Cholula guy, but yeah, I feel you.
Oh yeah, no, I use I prefer like the Cholula style if I'm just like putting something on like a taco or like an individual taco or something.
Yeah.
But if I'm dipping chicken in something, I'm just pouring a big chunk of that Frank's on a plate.
Would you put Frank's on a Slim Jim?
Maybe,
Oh God.
maybe. Cass,
Do
what's
you-
your
do you guys-
Cass, what's your trash food of choice?
So in the UK, I don't know if you've seen, there was a big controversy about us saying we get a Chinese takeaway, but we say we're gonna get a Chinese. Anyway, point is Chinese takeaway always.
Okay.
Singapore noodles, perfect, great.
Now I'm
And that's
wondering what is because America and even like I believe even like Northeast America has a specific type of like quote unquote Chinese food, which is like so largely fried chicken and dumpling. Your deeply battered, deeply fried kind of foods. What is UK style Chinese food?
I think it's basically the same from
Okay.
what I know, but with like a bit more spice a lot
Yeah.
of the time. Yeah, it's like we still have, they call it chicken balls. I don't know if you have chicken balls over there. They are just a little bit of chicken strip in some batter with some chicken mashed into the batter, and they taste amazing and they're great and I love them.
Yeah,
But
that
yeah.
is. I'm considering today getting chicken and waffles,
Ooh,
or a chicken waffle sandwich actually,
adventures.
because I have.
That's hipster food, though. That's not junk food anymore.
That's comfort food. What are you talking about?
It is comfort food. Yeah, we can call it that too. Yes. That's
There's a Korean chicken place, Korean fried chicken nearby, so I can get like a boba and a cookie and fries, all in the
Ooh.
deal for like 15
That
bucks.
sounds real good.
It is.
Yeah.
I'm in chicken heaven.
Yeah, you should convert it to a food abominations podcast. Like, do you remember Epic Mealtime back in the day?
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah,
I know
except
the name.
with an indie game twist. That's what. Yeah, that's your final boss form for sure.
It is like Well, I mean, part of this is like, I feel like it would be exhausting to come on here and just talk shop all day. You know, like tell me about video games. Tell me about your coding. What do you think about guys when they jump up and down?
Isn't Unity terrible?
Yeah,
Yes, Unity's terrible.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's video games. It seems boring, and it's like, I think if there's a bad trend in gaming, it's that it feels like people who make games only play games, and often only play the games from the last 2 to 3 years that are popular.
Yeah.
the It's the classic Star Wars problem, you know, of people who make new Star Wars only watch Star Wars. George Lucas liked Flash Gordon.
Yeah.
I'm trying to edge towards the door right now because I have Baldur's Gate 3 up on my other monitor.
That's all. Listen, that's all right. Before this, I was playing Yakuza 0. Because I was finally like, what am I gonna play? And before that, I got some Switch games to go. I was playing Final Fantasy 12
Oh, that's a classic.
on.
Love that.
I got decently. When I was younger, I kind of bounced off like. It was like it felt too like it was missing something. Like I craved the restrictions
Mhm.
that the new editions have now offer. I was like, oh, everyone can just be everything? Well, that's boring.
Yeah, but I feel you though. I mean, it's the same way when now that you're an adult and you're at parties, people ask you like about your job,
Yeah.
and it is kind of depressing, right? Like, I don't want to talk about programming with other people. That's going to be horrifyingly boring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have an office job. Not even in the game industry. I work in manufacturing. I'm entirely outside of this space, and it's like nobody wants to talk about car parts or whatever.
Go off about car parts. I want to hear.
I don't know anything about them. I've started to learn a lot more slowly through osmosis, but I still don't know a lot. But
Well, it's gonna be like sports soon, though,
yeah,
is my feeling. You know how that's the safe topic amongst party goers, I guess, historically.
yeah, it's like tell me
And
about.
now, like, everybody's a gamer now. So it'd be like, oh yeah, the latest Call of Duty, blah, 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 blah. You know, that's like an icebreaker now somehow, which is just bizarre to me.
Right, and I'm like, speaking of icebreakers, who wants to talk about this copy of? Who wants to talk about Ainsley the Ice Storm? And maintain. I have not seen the Ice Storm, but I have it next. It's sitting next to me. I bought it recently on the Criterion flash sale.
What's Ainsley the Ice Storm? Let me look it up.
I think it's about people and there's an ice storm and they hate each other, or they are miserable. It's this kind of things I like.
I've gone onto Google Images and I see a very strange mask. Whereas maybe it's an effect. I don't know.
Oh,
This
perfect!
is-
I'm looking forward to it. I recently watched. Oh man, so I think I watched. What did I watch recently of his? Here, what's
Wait, so I'm looking at the Ice Storm released in 1997.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Okay, so you're talking about Kevin Kline and yeah, okay.
Oh, I watched Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon recently. That's what I watched because it was part of
Ooh,
that Michelle Yeoh collection.
yeah.
On Criterion.
Oh, yeah. She's so much fun to watch.
Yes, I also watched Yes, Madam, which had not enough of the madams in it for my taste. Could have used more, but truly, that late '90s Michelle Yeoh, cool as hell.
Yeah, Kill Bill, right? And then was she in Kill Bill? Or am I genre bending?
I'm not sure. This thing is, I saw Kill Bill too long ago to remember who was in Kill Bill. You know, besides.
True, that's like that's a classic film now, isn't it? Yeesh.
Yes. Does not seem like it. No, it was not. But anyway, yes, a lot of films. I like movies a lot. I have they're fun to watch. But that was just me making jokes about how I'm already broadly unrelatable, and I could not talk about sports as it was. somewhere
maybe
somewhere
you.
at some point in high school, I decided, like, what if I just became culturally unrelatable? But I still enjoyed myself, and
I think that's the goal.
yeah, I haven't turned my back since.
Yeah, is it actually a moral failing to be able to talk intelligently about the latest Call of Duty title?
Yeah,
Does that make you a bad person?
no, because also I like to listen to when people like things that I don't like.
Yeah.
I want to hear about someone tell me about this thing that I've never seen or heard about before.
I want to understand.
I like
Enlighten me.
I like my friends posting stuff about a feast unknown, and I'm like, what is a feast? It's like Pulp Fiction, erotica, and horror fiction. Like, I don't know what it is, but I like. It's got a great cover. Like, this classic cover is really good. I'm gonna give that in the. See, this is where but it's also like that joys of. It's kind of boring if we just all like the same stuff,
Yeah. That is a
Wait,
great
okay, I
cover.
just flipped over. Did you post vampire uh Tricky Dick Nixon? President Nixon before that? What is this a picture of?
That's from the ice storm. I don't know what it is. It came up on
Wow.
Google.
Yeah. I don't know what but it's like
Vampire Richard Nixon. I'm actually going to use that in life somewhere.
Yeah.
yeah. So I was like, I'm gonna watch this.
Save image as
Yes.
Dracula Nixon. There we go. I'm going to use that later.
I mean,
Perfect.
Halloween's coming up.
Well,
Very
at
soon.
work, right? Because we use Microsoft Teams because it's a horrible, boring, company. So I'm going to use that as a reaction GIF for sure at some point.
It's
Hopefully
good.
not get
It's got a
fired.
good neutrality to it
Right.
that allows you to like now I'm curious about something. Now that I'm kind of in this brain space of things off the beaten path. Do you, or did you even among a friend group have like a thing that was like very huge and very specific, like within your friend group?
What are
That
you
made
thinking of?
Cats 2019.
What was that?
Cats 2019.
Okay.
Cats, right. Yes. Was it the lack of butts? Was that the issue with that
It's
film? That was the problem, right?
just all of it. It's just like it's an unexplainable cryptid film, and it brings me this immeasurable joy to watch that like it was created and is polished, but is somehow all wrong at the same time.
It's very surreal. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen one clip from Cats, the film from 2019. Andrew Lloyd Webber's Cats. I think I saw Skimbleshanks the Railway Cat.
Oh yeah.
Because I
Bang
love people. I listened to a podcast where they kept watching Cats repeatedly,
it.
and they had a lot of praise for Skimbleshanks. And so I was like, let me check this guy out. And I like
It's
it.
great because
I like his attitude.
Yeah, he's good. He just shows up and then leaves.
I'm curious, was it like an like a Mystery Science Theater thing where they'd like have two regulars and then they'd bring in like a civilian and they'd make them watch Cats?
No. This was this is
All right.
it's a long running podcast. If you're familiar, two New Zealand comedians watched Grown Ups 2 for every week for a year. I believe it's called The Worst Idea of All Time. And they kept it going. They just keep watching stuff because that's what you do. You have to just keep doing your thing. But they're like,
Right.
They do like variety. They do like, I think they're like kind of actual comedians in New Zealand. That sounds condescending, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like it's somewhat of a living for them.
Right.
Yeah.
In the same way that like you're on a variety show that never escapes your country, or you host
Mhm.
shows. I believe they've hosted shows before, but.
That's like the British panel show scene, right? Same kind of thing. I feel
Yeah.
Yeah.
like there's like the same like 20 people. They're on all the British panel shows. They just cycle through.
Yeah, they have.
100%.
Do you like see? Have you run into people from panel shows just like around the island?
Um, I don't think so. Like, as in, so much of like the TV industry is, and especially comedy, is all in like Edinburgh or London
Okay.
and nowhere else. But they do like tour like pretty local to me quite often. Oh my god, I need to book tickets. It's like a Christmas show with all of those panel people. The like same five on everything. But yeah,
My big fat quiz of the year is like a tradition in my
oh, it's
household.
so good.
And one of my something that would make me kind of like squeal, like a schoolgirl, would be if I just happened to meet like Greg Davies on the street or something. You know, staring up at his like whatever he is, 7'5".
Who is it? Now, see, now this is you're going beyond my knowledge. I don't know if these panel guys.
Well, I'm a British panel show junkie, so
Yes.
that is a weird subculture that I'm,
Yeah, no.
That-
I'm looking at this face. He looks like a guy who's on a British panel.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
He's got that.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
got that face.
he's doing one called Taskmaster right now. Well, he has been doing it for a long time, but it's where most people know him from, I think.
He's kind of person. Oh, I love Greg Davies. What a funny. He's a funny lad. Big fan of him. But anyway, comedians. They're funny stuff. Podcasts. They're funny things. People are funny. You know, I like funny people. Games themselves.
I feel like the UK is almost like if New York City was a country. Like just all the people are funny and cool, and they live really close to each other. I don't know.
I think there's a perception that we all live very close to each other, but we don't.
I
Because
think
a lot of the time where I hear people from other countries are like, "Oh, you live in London, right?" And it's like, no, no, there's other places. They are real.
yeah, I think that's
There's
the old,
suburbs to London, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, that is how the government treats it also, so it doesn't help.
that's one of those things where that's definitely that U.S. Scale of things where it's like, oh, it's not very compared to, it's still fairly big compared to, it's not as small as you think. Let's see, it goes somewhere from Michigan to Georgia, give or take.
Yeah.
Size wise, but like not taking up
It's
that
real
entire space.
narrow.
But
I mean, I feel like that's a much more manageable size for a culture.
yes, it is.
know what
Oh
I mean?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always think this. Like, I don't understand how y'all are okay because this is too much land mass to be like managed by like a very small amount of
I got some
much
news for
shit.
you.
people.
we're not okay.
Yeah, I mean, we're barely okay, and we're
Yeah.
tiny.
We're seeing how long this experiment will run its course. We're like 200-year-old country. Hey, it's pretty good run for a country, you know. All in one piece. We split up there for a little in the middle, but it is very strange that like something so big with so many like little disparate governing regions is still like technically a singular thing.
Yeah, I feel at this point, like, because your states are so big, I feel like they should just be countries. You know what I mean? Like, they're so big.
Right, and
there's memes. Yes,
they are like so like drastically different than one another too. Like there's like a whole website in the U.S. that's like fight for 15, you know, for like minimum wage. And like where I live, that is minimum wage.
Yeah, God.
And that is like
where I live, it's basically 17 now. So
yeah, right. So there are places, right? Yeah, it's 15, but it's like a soft 17, right?
there's just so much variation in how much the cost of living is. That
Yes.
it's hard to have a common understanding of even what like dinner should cost.
Right. Yeah. No, New England is not cheap. It's expensive to live in.
That's where all the old money lives. Yeah.
Yes, it's where we all started. speaking of which, where can I get some of that old money? Where
Yeah.
hey guys, where are you hiding all that old money? Is it in the walls?
They bury it in the ground.
Oh, I gotta go dig around. I used to dig around the ground. The pleasures of digging a hole in the ground.
Find some of those doubloons from Jamestown.
No, I've said on this before. I found a dog collar.
Oh,
Something I realized decades later in life was probably a grave.
Yeah, I was gonna say, were there bones?
I don't think I found any, but it's just a strange thing because we were digging pretty deep. We got we got really into digging holes.
Sometimes you just gotta dig a hole, man.
Yeah, when you've got a piece of
Sometimes
when you got a piece of
when
your
you have
lawn
an
that doesn't
office
grow
job.
grass,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And you want to know if there's actually like an Indian burial mound
and
there,
you're
and
like,
that's what's preventing the grass from growing.
I'm a kid. I'm allowed to just dig wherever I want. I was like, I'm allowed to dig in this grass because there's no grass here, so I'm allowed to dig because I'm not digging up grass.
Right.
Then you find,
And then your parents are obviously pleased with that.
of course,
When they find a
because it's not in
giant
the
hole there.
grass.
There you
You're
are.
outside. You're.
I would do that as a grown man just to like, see my labor produce a thing.
Yes.
have you seen that TikTok account? That's just someone like building a tunnel system under their house.
No, I do not.
That sounds very zeitgeist. That sounds very,
Yeah,
very
it is.
now.
But I would say it's genuinely might be worth like just following because it is fascinating. They're just like they found like sandstone veins and iron and stuff. They're like living their little Minecraft reality just in their property. I don't understand how it's legal. Yeah.
Oh, maybe. I mean, it might not be, but it's like, come to
Yeah.
Probably isn't.
who's gonna tell the
Their
guy
house
digging a
is probably
hole
gonna
in
collapse.
his house
Yeah.
to stop?
It's really cool though. They've got like a whole like police system they've set up to get this started. It's mad.
That's the power. See, that's the power of spare time and hobbies. You know, it's
Great escape.
that's like, listen, machines should be running it. We should have machines that do all of our work, so that we then also get paid and have the comfort of being able to unlock the human potential of digging holes.
Yeah.
Digging holes under our houses.
Yeah.
It's a weird world where, like, to feel fulfilled as a hobby, we go, oh, back from work, now to go down to the mines.
Yeah.
Into the pit.
Right. That's why sometimes you'll see artists encourage you to be like, don't do a job that's completely unrelated from your art field, you know?
Oh, yeah, that's honestly my goal at the minute. Like,
Yeah.
I want to get into, like, animal stuff.
Yeah.
Like, zookeeping or something, because that would be fun, like, every day.
Right. Because I bet if that guy was a professional hole digger, and then he would not want to go home and dig more holes. He'd be like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to bring my work home. But since he probably works at like an office or something, he's like, another day at the hole. Yeah, that's how you like. Yeah, it's 8 hours for me, you know, 8 hours for leisure. I deserve it.
Yeah,
I
well,
deserve to
lots
be
of blood was shed.
Yeah. That's the other. That's definitely why I never want to work in video games. I'm never working a job that has more than an 8-hour day. Not in my life. Never catch me dead doing it.
Oh, I'm not gonna lie. That's why I got into programming when I was a wee thing. Right?
Yeah.
But then I quickly figured out what actually working at a game studio would be like, and I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't work weekends, and I don't work when the clock says 4 o'clock. I'm out of the door. Not a second later.
Contractual obligations met.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, I've worked my time, and I'm out. The work will get done. If anything that doesn't get done, it'll get done tomorrow. You know. That's the secret of it. It's like, you know, I doing this zine. I quit every day at 10 o'clock, 2 hours before I go to bed. I don't work weekends at all. I do not work weekends.
Not even for myself.
That counts for my day job. That counts for Indiepocalypse. I don't work, and you know what? Look at this thing. I get it done every month.
That's the way.
I mean, there is so much to be said for getting a thing done every month consistently like this. I mean, that is at least half the battle.
Oh yeah.
And that is like, I think if you like space yourself and set deadlines and like realize that like, okay, I gotta get this done by then, but also I'm not gonna burn my, because I've done a lot. I've done like considerably worse work when I'm just working nonstop, and it's just like, you get exhausted and you get afraid, and then you just like stop because you just don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
And so much.
I think like
Yeah.
with I had a realization kind of recently with the games industry stuff, because I've been like, I graduated like a couple of years ago and I've been looking for stuff and I'm just like, I don't really want to do like any of that. Like it's so, I think with game stuff you have to really specialize so much to get a job, and like
Mm-hmm.
I just want to make stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like I don't really want to just like program or just do art or just do like one thing every day. I just want to make weird things.
Because
Right.
it's an industrial job almost, right?
Yeah.
So it's gonna feel like, it's gonna feel kind of meaningless if you're like a tools programmer at
Yeah.
Ubisoft or whatever, right? You're gonna feel like what is your contribution to to Assassin's Creed 12 or whatever you're working on, right?
Yeah. Yeah, like right. There's like it's that weird, especially since it's like so like physically disconnected. Because like if you're like a grip or like a best boy, you're still
Yeah,
like
right. You're physically.
right. You're still like on the set. You're there. You're like in the middle of it and all. But I feel like maybe game dev kind of like, because everyone's just kind of on their own computer.
Yeah.
Kind of isolates it more, where it feels like, oh, I just made boxes for 8 hours.
That's actually a cool idea. If there could be like a giant projector room that the team has to go into every day and like just communally play the game.
Yeah, and I'm sure
Sounds
there.
like that would be a good.
And I bet at some of the best of them, there were probably people who tried to make it more like an active, like, this is what we're all working on. This is the thing that we are contributing to. But also, the film industry is not a thing to take cues from all the time either.
Yeah, this is true. But I do like that they have so many little specialized roles to the point where like you can just be the person who does the lighting and that's it. And
Right.
like, and I think there was one of them where it's like the person who does the focusing and the person that literally like clicks the button to record it. I don't know. There was like a lot of really tiny ones I saw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think being an older, also unionized industry,
Yeah.
there's better like recognition and like codification of those jobs. Where like sometimes, I think for a while, game industry stuff, people weren't even in credits, and like it's also a very different industry, because it's a company industry versus like production job industry. You don't work on XYZ film. You work at you work at Ubisoft, making the games that Ubisoft makes.
I mean, there's starting to be some union activity, though, at least amongst the QA people at studios, right?
Right.
Or maybe more than that.
But I wonder how much of that is that difficulties that has to be done on like a studio by studio, or a lot of them seem to be doing on a studio by studio basis.
Right, instead of having like the UAW for QA people or something.
Right,
yeah.
right. It's like, we're not the Teamsters or whatever.
Yeah.
The old Wobblies. Is that that's what they call them, right? The IWW.
Yeah, the Industrial Workers Union. Yeah.
I spent a lot of time at one point, just like one of my courses required us to read A People's History of the United States, which is
Zim. Yeah.
90% strikes.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
In labor activities, it's like, oh yeah, this is what, and I mean that's what that is the people, as it turns out, is hey, what if we got paid good? And,
I mean, it's a new era for that, right? I mean, we got one of the largest UAW strikes in the past 40 years happening right now.
Yeah, everybody's going, everybody's doing it, and we're realizing, like, why do we have billionaires? It seems impractical. seems nonsensical. Seems like why buy a website that is working perfectly well just to ruin it?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I know it's become more and more clear to me over the course of my career that um that there really is no smart money.
You're right. Right.
There's just big money and small money. That's the only difference.
And often big money gets its money from small money.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, folks, what we're
They're
saying
not they're
is
not actually they're not actually smarter.
get
That's all
your
I'm saying.
no. They're they're usually it got handed down. You know, the classic of every self starter. Find yourself a self starter article that does not involve someone getting a loan from a family member. You know.
Small loan for $1 million.
Yeah,
as
that's
they
just a small
say.
$1 million loan from a family, not a bank, not an institution, from a family member.
No.
Anyway, you know, or having just like, even if it's not just the luxury of knowing that, oh, I can go try acting or something like that, knowing that I have a huge safety net.
Mm.
Yeah, knowing that I won't literally starve to death
Right.
or become homeless.
Because I have a family in real estate or whatever. Which is all more important reason to support your small local artists who are just doing it on dimes, Anyway, we're cresting. Are we getting our? Yes, we're getting closer to our two. This is, we transitioned to from the Indiepocalypse snack talk into Indiepocalypse worker talk.
Labor hour, I guess. Yeah.
Labor hour. I love it.
the natural progression of the show. The things you think of, the things you stress about most in life: money and food.
Mm-hmm.
This is true.
So junk food powers labor.
Right, so they become front of mind forever. But anyway, that is what it is for video games, huh? Yeah, those things. They do stuff.
What are you gonna make? What are you gonna make next?
Yeah, what are you guys thinking about making? What are you all thinking about making next? You have an idea what your next? I know what my next project is, and it is another issue of this thing. I've thought about making games. I think about it sometimes.
I mean, there's tools, man. Anybody can do it now.
I am
do it.
Translating my game maker knowledge over to Godot.
Oh yeah.
So that I can
there you go.
Because I'm like, Godot has better 3D tools than Game Maker does. What if I made
Absolutely.
a 3D game?
Oh, now you're stepping into the deep end.
Yeah, well, mostly it's like I played a lot of Kingsfield and Shadow Tower and stuff like that, and I was like, what if I made one of these games? Or I want the ability to make one of those games. So
have you played Mythbearer?
No.
That's a 2D Kingsfield-ish kind of puzzler thing. You should look that up at some point. Who is I mean, I don't want to answer my own question.
Go ahead. I asked it back to you, so you can answer it.
I'm actually working on a derivative of Heroes of Might and Magic.
Okay.
3.
That's a blind spot. That is also a blind spot of mine that I've been thinking about.
That's one of the earliest games that I played, which is probably why it's burning a hole in the back of my mind. But, and I'm doing, I always do monochrome or near monochrome stuff because I feel like that gives you forces you to have a stronger voice.
Right.
At least, that's my theory. I don't know if that actually works in practice, but I feel like obviously bigger projects really lean into the visual flash, and I feel like that's why they kind of fall flat. in terms of engagement now. So I think going as low as you can to a certain point, of course. Um, I'm not saying everybody should do what is that? Thomas Was Alone, the one that was a big hit that was literally blocks,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That's yeah, obviously, one person gets to do that, but then maybe a little bit more than that. But yeah, so it's like a techno futurist version of Heroes of Might and Magic,
Ooh.
where you're trying to figure out why your creators made you.
I'd love that.
It's the old robots trying to figure out what they were made for story.
Right.
Sci-fi trope.
Almost as if humans think about that a lot.
It's a metaphor, guys.
Sci-fi being a metaphor? Not who could believe it? Those are all things that literally happen.
But I stepped out of out of one bit. I'm using two whole bits
Whoa.
of color this time. Yeah, I
No
know.
way. The future is now.
I'm really betraying my principles.
Making the ZX blush with this one.
Yeah.
Cass, did you
Yeah,
have
so it's
anything?
gonna be in the Hercules amber palette. 4 ambers.
Ooh.
Not a sitcom. That's my palette. 4 ambers.
Cass, do you have anything planned, or is this kind of like, I'll do what comes to me?
I have a couple. I was on like a program thing, so I've not been able to like work on a lot. But the one I really want to work on, and hopefully can soon, is called Haunt Hunt, and it's basically an I Spy Spooky Mansion fan game. I'm not gonna lie, but it's like a puzzle stealth thing. And yeah, you're like, you're on a generational quest of like a conspiracy, and you've got to solve it. And every family member dies, and you like are the next family member.
Oh, I love that. Yes.
Yeah, and they all own a haunted house, and the ghosts are disappearing. So you got to go and find the ghosts. And it's all conspiracies and weird and fun, and I'm excited about it.
I love that. Do you have a certain number of lives, and each life is like a generation of the family, or do you have to play like all 7 generations of the family to figure it all out, or not to give everything away?
Well, that's one of my things I'm still kind of deciding, because I have this like last level where it's like, okay, you can like actually die here kind of thing, and you've got to like come back, and the rest of it's kind of just like linear. So yeah, I think it would make more sense. I mean, let's get some feedback. I think it would make more sense to be like, okay, here is to like this person in the family per level, and then maybe like time jump in between. Then the last one's kind of a bit crazy, wacky, but yeah.
Yeah, I love multi-generational work in general, and like especially because it kind of like it's a cool way to sort of, I don't know, reset the thing that you've done.
Yeah.
And always have like different different perspectives and different stakes and different like it kind of trying to think of like, I think the one Fantasy Star I never played is like that. It's multi-generational. Or like there's some games like that where it's like, oh, there's our kids, and sometimes some RPGs do that where it's like your kids are determined by like your previous generation, that kind of thing. I believe one of the
It's like you get to build you feel like you're building your own mythology, right?
Yeah.
It's always a cool feeling.
Right.
I think it's cool as well, because like it adds a lot of stake to the death, because it's like,
Yeah.
oh, if I die, like my children for generations have to be like trying to figure out this mystery or whatever. Like, yeah.
Right, and it also like makes your supporting cast can be far more disposable,
Yeah.
which is a mean way. It's more like it's more danger for a supporting cast.
Yeah, more meaningful. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Because you sound like, oh well, this is the supporting cast, of course will survive all the way through. It's like, well, it's for a very long running series, I think that's the strength of JoJo. Is this kind of any character's fate is undetermined because they're not going to keep. You don't need to keep them all around forever because at the end it's just going to be a reset to a new crew.
Mm.
So it's a cool little bit of storytelling to it. But that is, I'm excited for games, and then I'm sure you also will dip into little jams here and there projects.
Yeah.
Cause I think that's fun. I think it's fun to like just jam around and like not be stuck on the project forever.
Do
Definitely.
you do the Ludum Dare? How do you say it? Ludum Dare?
Ludum Dare.
LD?
I used to
Ludum
do that
Dare.
even.
I did I don't think I did 4. And then I had a kid.
Yeah.
And now I can't take the 3 days of just, Red Bull in it. I can't do that anymore, else I would quickly find myself divorced.
No, it's weird. It's almost as if it's a impractical way to live.
Yeah, I try to like stay away from the shorter jams a lot lately. Like I found a good midpoint for me is like 2 weeks because then it's like, okay, stuff can come up and I can like live my regular life and
That's what I
still be
need.
making a
Yeah.
game.
Mm-hmm.
I've since just like the times I do, I kind of. Well, I haven't even worried about making games. I just kind of make ideas,
Mm.
in the shape of games. So like I'll fire up a random generator and take a random Famicase game and be like, what's a version of what this game would be? Like
Yeah.
not the finished game, not like but like here's like a core mechanic of what this game is. It also gives me like tools, especially now if I'm switching over to Godot, I need to rebuild my tool set.
Oh yeah, that's the worst.
I need to rebuild all my little scripts, which shouldn't take too long. I don't think I've gotten better enough at this.
Are you gonna be a C# Godot user?
No,
Or are you gonna use their script?
I'm just gonna use GD script.
GD script. Seems like all the source and examples are in that anyway.
Right,
So
right.
you might as well.
It's fun to use. I really like GD script. I like not having to do line endings and not having to do loads of like grammatical stuff that doesn't really make sense in my head.
Yeah, I do not come from a programming background, so but I did get used to it, so like I started putting a lot of unnecessary semicolons.
Yeah, same.
Nice.
Because I was just like so used to, but like C#, it's one of those things where C# is technically better to learn, but
Well, if you're gonna like become a Unity dev at a
right.
big studio and hate your life, yes,
Yeah.
Do that.
But I'm like, nah, I just gotta learn what I need to do to get by. In the same way, it's like, yeah, I could technically learn all of the theory behind music, but I just bash around this guitar, baby, and see what happens.
Woo! Power chords.
Yeah, I can just learn power chords. Who needs chords? I have power chords.
No, they're better. Chords accept better.
Yeah, they're tougher. You don't need anything else.
So wait, why are you switching from GameMaker though to Godot?
3D, the 3D tools mostly.
Oh right, okay.
And
you do want to.
I am always uncertain about the choices GameMaker may make in the future. Whereas at least because of its open source nature, the head Godot guy does something weird.
We can fork it. Yeah.
Like a branch. That's like the Godot you like.
Yeah.
True.
That's the benefit of it. Even though I was grandfathered into like the lifetime subscription, for GameMaker.
Ooh, that is a perk.
It is. It's primarily the 3D plus resources seem to also be trending towards Godot as a primary tool of like so it's like, hey, I can look up more tutorials.
Yeah.
Of how to do things.
Yeah, I find like the documentation is really good as well. Like they've got a lot of detail in there for like all of the theory behind things. Like I didn't know a lot about vector math and they have like everything.
Yeah. Yeah, it's important to learn people, my parting advice to game developers is learn math.
Yeah.
If you're gonna do physics, you're gonna have, if your game's gonna have movement, learn math. I don't want to see built-in physics. I hate that stuff. That like the imprecisions, like I feel like you get so much more control when you just like learn how math works and just recreate physics with your own math. You get like so much more like perfected, like neat, like good control over things. I've just never that kind of that kind of clunkiness of like physics objects bouncing around has never felt like good.
Yeah.
And very rarely feels like it. And maybe like from a visual standpoint, it's nice sometimes, but like to interact with, truly cursed. But we're cresting towards the end of our time. Does anyone else have any kind of like last minute important statements or questions? If not, we will wrap up the show.
I can't think of anything. I mean, I want to see what you're gonna do for your first FPS, man. Are you thinking like
Well, I'm still far away from that.
Like Z Doom? Like, are you going like real low res?
No, I was probably thinking first person adventure dungeon game. If I made a
Oh,
if I made
friend,
one of
have you
those.
heard of Islands of the Caliph, which just came out?
No, I don't play video games. What are you asking me this
Yeah,
question?
you don't have time. You don't have time for that sort of thing. But I want to plug this because
Yeah.
it's made by an amazing dude, and um, he deserves our support. And it is literally the thing I think that you are sort of interested in making, but maybe not. I'll put
Did
that in
someone?
the chat for you.
I wonder if
My
someone else
gift.
mentioned this. It looks, I think there's a similar title. Yes, it is the kind of thing that I am. I do want to just like, I like the idea of like first person. I've said on the show before, I'm taking a mild detour from that because I felt like playing other games. But for a long while, I was playing all of the FromSoft back catalog chronologically.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
And they have a lot of first-person dungeon crawlers, and it is of that same like the stuff that people like about their modern games. It's all there still.
Yeah, exactly. They've been making the same game for some time.
Yeah, it's
And it
popular
works.
now,
Yeah.
which is very weird, and it's like there's nothing funnier of showing like the absurdity of like how much of like game design is like nakedly trend chasing as people copying FromSoft design philosophies.
Right.
Yeah.
Like in no world is shoulder based combat sensible.
No.
except in the world where Dark Souls is popular.
Yeah, except in the last 10 years.
Right. But if Dark Souls was popular and somebody did that, no one would ever think it was a sensible thing to do. But it is that intensely like FromSoft maximalist design of you use every single button on the controller.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, I was doing that, and then so that got me thinking about mystery games. I don't know what I'll make. I just want to make like little projects, and then I'll make something longer after I have the tools for my little projects. I wanted
That's the way to do it.
I wanted to at some point make and I'm curious because I'm sure this game exists somewhere so I want to try. I wanted to make like a Kirby inspired bullet hell.
Ooh.
Where it is like all your weapons come from absorbing enemies as you play the bullet hells.
Yeah.
And
I feel like that's such a good idea. Somebody must have done something like that, and if not, you need to get on that.
It either existed, either it came out last year or it came out on like the Sharp 8600, 6800 or something. It's like it's existed forever, or it's
the original Game Boy.
Right. I have been watching some YouTube videos of old games. I like when people
Long plays.
not long plays, but like I've just finished up a lot of the Jeremy Parish's stuff, which is like I want like chronological kind of looks at things, you know. I want like
I see. Okay.
I want like people to look at like stuff off the beaten path kind of things.
Like Dark Castle for the early Macintosh. Yeah,
Yes, it's
I know what you're talking about.
I like people to like think about I just typed Dark Castle as if that was gonna help me.
You can get lots of stock photos from Midjourney.
Yes, castles that are dark. But yeah, no, that is. I feel like people are getting closer to getting in touch with games as like expanding the canon of games, you know, rather than being like, I like Mario and Zelda and Master Chief or whatever.
Master Chief game.
Yes,
Not Halo, but Master Chief game.
exactly, Master Chief.
It's just a JPEG. You just launch it up.
I love Mr. Master
Just
Chief. That kind of like in the same way other like what's the what is gaming's Trout Mask replica, you know? Do we have one? And I think probably not, or at least not one that is like canonized in any way. It's the gaming canon is very safe. I guess is what I mean. But that all said, shutting it down the show. I'm closing these private browsing windows that I used to look up things like Dark Castle. And we're gonna, Jonathan, we already mentioned your stuff up the top, but that's Unearth on Steam and Cryptonesiac Softworks. Find that stuff there. But Cass, where can people find your stuff if they're looking for it?
Yeah, so I'm Karoblin on literally everything. So karoblin.itch.io has every link you could possibly want and every game. So yeah, that's
Perfect.
probably the best one.
Yes, and you know, if you, oh my God, I got 8 notifications. What's going on? Someone's going crazy. Hope it's not someone trying to get me to click on their hentai. Again.
Selling hentai. Yes, the hentai guy is back.
The hentai salesman is back.
Please buy my hentai.
I'm banning you, hentai salesman. Get out of here. I need to put, I need that Sailor Jupiter, this is a no hentai zone on all of my itch pages. Get out of here, buddy, with that. Bring it somewhere else. I also got 4 submissions.
Hey.
A lot of. Oh, nice try. Trying to double submit. Nice try, buddy. We don't allow repeat contributors around these parts.
Retreads.
But that's only because I want to get as many people in the thing as possible, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, you need the diversity.
You know, 450 unique developers, 470 technically if you count the issues I'm building right now. That's a lot of unique developers.
Yeah. I mean, you don't want to be like the itch.io homepage.
Right.
Don't be like that, where it's the same 10 developers forever.
Yeah, right. Just listen. I don't need to be itch.io's social accounts and tweeting out every single sock pop release. Why don't you give one of those little social media shoutouts to little Indiepocalypse every now and then? You know what I'm saying? Just give him a little like, hey, buddy, this thing's cool too. Yeah. But no, I mean, it is like there is the nature to like clubhouse-ify things, you know. So I'm creating the anti-clubhouse.
Yeah, I think it worked.
But then I invite people onto my little radio show that says, "Hey, I like you, even if you try to submit another game, I would say not a chance in hell, buddy."
Get that talk out of here.
But I do have a little alumni page, so sometimes when people do that, and I say, "Hey, no repeat contributors, but if you want to be added to my alumni page, so if you go to my itch page, which is petersprings.itch.io, and you scroll down past that giant list of Indiepocalypse games, there's a little alumni list too. Like, Indiepocalypse is not meant to be the end of like where you're not meant to simply buy Indiepocalypse and stop there, you know. It's meant to be like a door into all these developers. And that's kind of like, I think, functionally what Anthology should be about. It's like, oh, wow, I bought a collection of works by 10 artists, or, you know, quote number of artists. And then I check those artists out somewhere else. They work independently. They work in different collaborations, different anthologies. And it's like, you open the door. Indiepocalypse is but a door to other developers, not
I'm gonna literally do that because I've always wanted to be in like a I think a 2-person team is great.
Yeah.
Keeping the energy going. And if you can the problem is you gotta find somebody who has like, you know, similar vision.
Right.
And what better way than to peruse the archives of Indiepocalypse and find your development soulmate.
That's a very good shout.
I wonder if I should. I wonder if it'd be interesting to do a yearly like Indiepocalypse jam where it's just
most definitely
only contributors of Indiepocalypse can participate, and it's kind of just like a hey, mix you guys, everyone just like mix up and try that.
Yeah, I fully support this idea.
Yeah,
and maybe say you have to be at least a pair.
Right.
To enter the jam.
Yeah, I don't know if like part of Indiepocalypse is being like, hey, don't what's the word? Trying not to make people do work.
Yeah.
That's what the commission games are for me paying people to do work.
Right. Fair enough. But I mean, you're not going to come to their house if they don't join the game jam, though, right?
Right.
I mean,
I'm not shaking them down, chaining them to their computer, and making them do it. Maybe that's an idea. Maybe
I do like that. I like that.
Yeah, I think it'd be good. It'd be good to like just meet and talk to other Indiepocalypse people as well. I think more than even just making a game. But I think a lot of people are of the same mind if they're submitting to Indiepocalypse about indie dev. So it'd be really cool.
Yeah, maybe that'll be something to think about. I've always got to have things to think about. There's something you should think about, dear listener, is purchasing Indiepocalypse. Because did you know when you buy Indiepocalypse, I believe that every 4 issues results in a payout for these kind developers.
It's true. I've seen the dollars.
Yes, you've seen
my meal deals.
You've seen a lot of dollars, but you're seeing a lot less of them. You're getting reintroduced to, oh wow, Indiepocalypse pays you a decent amount of money. Then it's like, hey, where'd all the money go?
I mean, that's a lot of dollar menu stuff.
Yeah,
that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, that up front you get
dozens of chicken nuggets.
You get quite a lot up front. For that Patreon goes a long way. But then every now and then you get a Tesco meal deal every 3 or 4 months, I say more like 6 or 8 months. You get a Tesco meal deal in your PayPal.
Well, I mean, that's living.
What more could you
want?
Yeah. Which is like, it's not a lot of money, but hey, precedent.
It's not
I guess.
A lot of money.
It's something. I think it's not zero. And hey, it's not like I'm making bank. I'm not a fat cat. What am I down? I'm currently down. I'm 11K in the hole with Indiepocalypse.
Oh.
Across.
And that's an investment in your future.
Yes, that's.
Yeah.
That is. So it's not like you're bankrolling this fat cat. There are 3 profitable issues.
We're getting in on the ground floor is what we're doing.
Yes, right. Eventually, long term, it's all about the long tail. I think. I wonder if for 2024, if I focus on like more art, if I continually focus on more arts and like less like game dev stuff, if that'll help me be more successful, Because I don't know.
I think this game jam is a path forward.
Yeah, it's always really weird because I don't want to make a strict community. I like the idea of a very loose affiliation of people. that don't have to hang out with each other or expected to know each other, or
Yeah.
I don't even care if the contributors to Indiepocalypse like each other. I think there could be a whole group. There could be blood feuds in this thing, and I'd be like, fine by me, whatever.
You gonna make a game?
people are people. I've what? There are 450 developers in there. What are the odds that they all like each other? Not high, or if not low either, but somewhere in the middle. But my plug, Indiepocalypse, you can go to indiepocalypse.com. You can buy it. If you're listening to this live right now, it's just hosting its Halloween sale. Indiepocalypse has the lowest price ever, which is $10. Never going lower. Don't even try it. That's just the price it costs. Because that if you go lower than that, it's like less than $1 per developer. If you split it like that, and that doesn't count me, so technically it's less than $1 per person, which is frankly too little money. But yes, you can go to my website and also buy. You can also buy them on my own website. That's what indiepocalypse.com is. That's just my own damn website. You can also, if you go to indiepocalypse.com/tapes, you can get these cool physical editions of Indiepocalypse. I'm down to my last 3 cassette tape boxes. I almost have to buy a new box. Actually, oh my god, the month is ending. I actually do need to buy one because on account of indiepocalypse.com/Patreon, where you can sign up and get Indiepocalypse delivered to your either sometimes physical mailbox or digital mailbox monthly. You can sign up for a year. You get 2 months free if you sign up for a year. You can sign up for the $5 tier, and you can get just the commission games every month, which is like a bargain, I would say, for the kind of games you're getting there and that commission. If you do it for a year, that's $50. $50 for 12 games from like the hotness in indie dev. Can't do better than that. If you want to join it, it's indiepocalypse.com/submit. I think that's all of it. I think that's all of my plugs. I got a lot of shit going on, but I think I explained it all. Cass, Jonathan, thank you both for being here on the show with me today. Thank you for
Pleasure.
making games and hanging out.
Yeah, thank you for
Absolutely.
Goodbye, Chuck E. Cheese.
Keep fighting the indie fight.
Fight. Someone's got to, I suppose, but everyone else is too. Like that's the thing. There's no singular indie fight. There's a million people all doing the same stuff. You should go out and support the people you like. Kill the video game monoculture. I'm sorry, Mario. You've got to go.
Mario must be killed.
It's unfortunate. You must be made a martyr on the death of a symbol of the death of the video game monoculture.
But it's a me.
No, it's no you anymore.
It's
We
you.
are all
It's us
Mario.
now.
It's like that Time magazine cover. We are the indie devs.
There is no me in Mario.
Correct. Anyway, I have to find Fubar so I can end the show. Goodbye.
Bye.